What is up, YouTube? It is Mr. Rolldaddy here, and today I'm going to be covering more Iowa Hawkeyes football analysts. This week, it is the Heartland Trophy weekend. It's the Iowa Hawkeyes and the Wisconsin Badgers. This is always an exciting matchup to watch and an exciting week ahead. It's two great Big Ten teams going neck and neck, big-time rivalry. Now, I've put some thought into what I think Iowa's got to do this week to win. Now, again, before I get started with this week's episode, I do just want to remind you all views expressed in this video are completely of my own. They do not represent those of the University of Iowa, the Big Ten Conference, any coaches or players, any media outlet, or anyone or anybody else who is otherwise affiliated. So, let's get going. All right, week 11. Season is really starting to wind down here. So, let's get going here. Now, my basic roll key this week. I'm still going to stick with my word that I've been saying since before the season started. Iowa will defeat Wisconsin this year. I absolutely believe this is the year Iowa does beat Wisconsin. Iowa's just got to go get it done. It's that simple. Now, here's my first offensive roll key of the week. Offensive linemen, they've got to be agile this week. Wisconsin, they usually do well in having some quick, agile defenders all over. The offensive linemen, they just need to make sure that their feet are running and moving. Wisconsin, they're able to make you miss with defensive speed. So, Iowa's blockers have to reach the second level. They've got to be pulling with one or both guards whenever needed. In the passing game, the offensive linemen need to be quick with their pass blocking sets, whether it's kicking outside or jamming inside. They've got to execute that very well. I'm thinking Connor Colby. He's a versatile offensive lineman for us. He's going to play a much bigger role than you would think. As Wisconsin is a good defensive coach team. I will get into that very soon. So, Colby on that offensive line, I think he's going to really play a big factor. So Connor Colby, he's got to play his best game this week. So do all the other offensive linemen. Now, here's my second offensive roll key of the week. Iowa should be running multiple tight end schemes. Jim Leonhard, he played in the NFL for quite a bit. He's the defensive coordinator, also interim head coach now. He's really up there as one of the greatest defensive strategizers in college football. He knows how to play some hard-nosed defense. He can beat a team in many ways on that defense. I'm going to say for Iowa, to get an advantage on the offensive side of the ball this weekend against this defense, they're going to need to catch Wisconsin off guard with both tight ends, Sam Laporta and Luke Lachey. They're going to... I'd say run a lot of multiple tight end formations. Run passes and runs. Because in the end, defensive coordinators, they are driven crazy by tight ends. Because tight ends, they're eligible receivers and they're blockers. They can be lined up anywhere and they can do anything. Now, here's my third offensive roll key for this weekend. Have Monty Pottebaum play a big part. The fullback. Yes, the fullback. I mean, look, not many schools can use this position well anymore, but I do see Iowa having an advantage in the fullback game this weekend. Pottebaum, he's nearly a 250-pound man. He's very strong, and there's a lot of advantages when you have a really strong fullback. Can use him as an extra blocker in both phases on offense and in short yardage, powering runner, old school football. I really am liking the idea of having Monty Pottebaum, just having him all over, put him in the backfield and give it to him, have him block. So, especially against a school that really knows how to play some good defense. There's some advantages for it this weekend. Now, with that being said, my fourth offensive roll key, I'm going to say unleash 13 and 22 personnel. So 13 personnel, that's where it's 1 running back, 3 tight ends, and 1 wide receiver. 22 personnel is 2 running backs, 2 tight ends, and 1 wide receiver. These are some interesting new groupings of players on offense that aren't typically seen too often, and Iowa doesn't really run these formations too often. It's really going to make Wisconsin adjust to something they typically just are not playing against. But with this formation, my suggestion is throw the ball deep on occasion with these personnel groupings. Whoever it is out there playing wide receiver, whoever that one wide receiver is, it could be any one of them. Arlen Bruce, Brody Brecht, whoever it is, they've just got to get open with using some juke moves. And they got to also run some routes as well. That one sole receiver, he's got to win those 50-50 balls. Must. So whoever that receiver is, Spencer Petras has got to place and touch the ball where there's areas of separation from defenders. So these are some interesting groupings to throw the ball deep and catch Wisconsin off guard. Now, next role key of the week and the final one for offense, I'm going to say run some counter running plays. So for those of you that aren't too familiar with an offensive playbook, counter runs, that's when a guard and a tackle on one side run to the opposite side of the field, through pulls, of course. Now, and then they block down to where the opposite side of the field is at. They block whoever the play side blockers are not blocking. Now, they're going to take those free guys out to open up more running lanes for the runners on the play side of the field. I do like Jack Bloom and Connor Colby to pull and be those counter running offensive linemen this weekend. So especially to get more running lanes open. And Caleb Johnson, I'm really liking his performances, but if Iowa can run counter running plays well this weekend, I believe that'll be enough for Caleb Johnson to get free to the outside from those pulling blocks. He's really showing a lot of good stuff with his speed and being a ball carrier. He got that 75, 80-yard touchdown run against Purdue last weekend. I think it only goes up for Caleb Johnson from here, but the blocking has to be there. All right, we're going to the defensive side of the ball now. Our first defensive role key is just build off of last week. I really did love the great defensive performance against a top-notch offense. Iowa's really got to make it grow and above from that. Iowa did a great job of playing the ball last weekend and of course, generating turnovers. They tackled very well, which was a main point I said last week. Holding a very good offense like that to 3 points is a good feat, but it's only can go up from here. And, of course, in addition to slowing down the Badgers' offense, Iowa's just got to go score in defense whenever it's possible for them to do so. Now, my second defensive role key, Braylon Allen. I don't need to say much more than that. Because, look, Wisconsin's known for their running backs. I mean, how many of them have they had over the past, I'd say, 10 years that have been really great players and have gone pro? I mean, there's Melvin Gordon, James White, Monty Ball, Jonathan Taylor, of course. Jeez, I think there's someone else who I'm probably forgetting, but yeah, but still, with Jonathan Taylor and so many of these other guys, Wisconsin is really a great all-around running back school. And Braylon Allen, he's just doing really well following that storied running back tradition. He's really a do-it-all running back. He's almost at 1,000 rushing yards. And that just shows how great of a player he is. There's still 3 games left for the team, and he's already almost at 1,000 rushing yards. So he's no doubt their top offensive threat. So what I'd suggest Iowa would do to play him, stack up the box often, and then if you don't want to do that, bring in some extra range of playing field for our linebackers. You've got to be ready for Braylon Allen to go anywhere and do anything. Look, Wisconsin is a school that has always run the ball really well. I think it was Ron Dane, if I remember correctly. I mean, he had a really great year running the football when he won the Heisman about, I'd say, 25 or so years ago. So Iowa has got to be ready for Wisconsin's amazing running game to take off at any time. Now, my third defensive role key, don't allow the receivers to get open early. Graham Mertz, he's Wisconsin's quarterback. He's got a great arm. He's really good at throwing the ball. But one of Mertz's biggest weaknesses is that he does not have the quickest ball release. And whenever Mertz needs to throw on the run or extend plays, his throws aren't always the greatest. So I'm going to say there is a way that Iowa can take advantage of it. Don't let any of those receivers get open early. Play some tight man coverage and then force Mertz to extend the play. Force Mertz to have to throw on the run, because those are his biggest weaknesses as a thrower. So if Iowa can get that, there's an advantage from it. Now, my fourth defensive role key, fake the coverages whenever you can. This is a strategy that good and, of course, even great defenses do. My high school team that was very successful over my 2 years playing on varsity did this quite a bit. They pretend that they will go into one coverage shell, like cover 2, cover 3, or whatever they want to run. But whatever they're trying to sell, it's really, in the end, all disguised to run another defensive play compared to what they are believing the opponent that they're lining up in. And then Iowa, from there, when they are faking those coverages, they got to disguise them all. Really have Wisconsin's offense thinking that, yes, this is the coverage that they are seeing right now. This is what Iowa's going to run. But the advantage on the defensive side of the ball, you can line up guys anywhere. Anywhere. It's not like offense where you have to have a certain amount of eligible receivers or a certain amount of guys or whatever. Defense, you can line guys up anywhere. So I always got to fake the coverages, disguise them well. And this is really going to be a great way to get the Badgers offensive skill players fooled this weekend. Now, my final defensive role key of the game, the push and the arm movement must be there. Now, I'm talking about the defensive linemen here. So, of course, I've talked all about already how Wisconsin has been a great running back school. But they're also a great offensive lineman school as well. There's many players from Wisconsin that have played at a high level at all 5 offensive line spots, and so many of them have made it to the NFL. They've got some really great offensive linemen again this year. All 4 of those guys were listed as some of their best players and for this team this season. And all 4 of those guys, they are at least 6'5" and they weigh at least 300 pounds. So, given how well Wisconsin can strategize on the offensive line and the size of those offensive linemen, what I'm going to say is Iowa's defensive linemen, the push must be there and the arm movement as well. Because I'm going to say Iowa's defensive linemen, they're really going to have to use the power moves up front. They're going to have to get a hand up. They're going to have to really get in there where the dirty work is being done. Get the arms up. Make those moves and really just push those offensive linemen back because they are some powerful people there. And again, Wisconsin has more often than not done really well with having powerful offensive linemen who can push back defenders. Get the arm up, push the offensive lineman back this weekend. Now, the X Factor role key. This might be a hot take, but I'm going to say it all comes down to the quarterbacks this weekend. Graham Mertz versus Spencer Petras. I'm going to say whichever team captures this trophy, it really does come down to quarterback play, but more so, which one of those two quarterbacks is going to make less mistakes? And both teams do have a lot of solid guys all over the field, and they're really well-balanced teams, but again, it's kind of a hot take, but I'm thinking quarterback play is going to decide which one of these two teams wins this weekend. The one that makes more mistakes is the team that's going to lose. That's how I see it. Now, we have reached that time of the video again. Rolldaddy's big roll of the week. So this is something I close off every video with. This is a surprise tactic, a trick play, or an interesting strategy that I would utilize this week if I was an Iowa coach that could catch the opponent off guard and give an advantage to the Hawkeyes. I've thought about some good tactics for this weekend, and again, my challenge is I must use a new one every week. I cannot use the same one twice in a season. I've thought some things through on this one, but here we go. Throw pass using wide receiver Brody Brecht. Yes, I am getting into a trick play this weekend. But it's not just really a concept. Brody Brecht, he also is a pitcher for the Iowa baseball team. And he's got a great pitching style with his game. And I'm believing if Iowa can use Brody Brecht on offense as a thrower, not just a receiver this weekend, I think there's potential for some good to come out of it. I know in high school, my team ran a play that's called the double bubble, where the quarterback throws a backwards pass to the receiver that's still eligible to throw it forward because the quarterback didn't throw it forward, and then the wide receiver that got the ball threw a touchdown out of it. I don't know exactly what you call it, but it's a jet sweep then pass where he gets the ball in a handoff coming in from being an inside or outside receiver and then just throws it from there. And of course, the Wildcat where he's the non-quarterback lined up as a quarterback and then just throws it. And I'm going to say all those would be effective ways for Brecht to pass the ball. And I'm going to say because it's just so unexpected, not a play that Iowa runs. Maybe Brody Brecht throws a touchdown from it. I'm still been waiting for the week where I somehow see this big roll of the week be utilized in a game. Hopefully this weekend is the weekend where it happens. All right. I really do thank you all for watching. I put a lot of thought into these videos and I put a lot of effort into recording them. I really do thank everyone who has made it to this point and everyone who has been watching all these videos so far this season. It's really a fun project for me. And again, I went to school at Iowa, graduated from there, still love the university as much as I have loved it for when I was a student. I miss Iowa City greatly. So please, if you're in Iowa City this weekend going to this game, please have a lot of fun. And there's a lot of great bars for you to go before, during, and after the game as well. Though I hope you won't be there during the game. I hope you'll be at the stadium during the game. I mean, I love my new life, but I really do miss Iowa City. So please, have some fun if you're out there this weekend. Thank you so much for watching. Let's go Hawks, and I will see you again next week for when the Hawkeyes are going to be taking on the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Thank you.